Hello everybody and welcome to our latest video. I got so many questions about how to start a first fast, how a first fast would feel, about recommendations for a first fast, that I thought it would be interesting to share some experiences, some fasting journeys about a first fast. And I have the pleasure to speak to a couple of people today. And my first guest today is Rupa. Hello Rupa, thank you very much for taking the time.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So let's immediately jump into the first question. What were your expectations for your first fast?
Well, since we wouldn't be eating for some time, I definitely expected to lose some weight. That's normal. I expected to be very tired and grumpy because that's how I usually react when I don't eat. So yeah, those were my expectations.
A lot. I have a lot of expectations because I have some migraine and some health problems. Also a bit with my stomach, and yeah, I was really looking forward to have this fasting experience.
Yeah, so to be honest, I didn't have a lot of expectations. I never tried this before. So my expectations were really that I will feel hunger all the time and that I will have a low energy, so I wouldn't be able to do much.
I tried to go into the fasting without that much expectations. It was also a short-term decision, so I just let it come.
In the beginning of my fast, I mainly expected three things to happen. Like the first one I was looking forward to was a life-extending kind of component. Like there's a lot of science about life extension with fasting, which I was looking really forward to, if you can really feel it, for example, or if you can measure it somehow. And the second component was kind of a stress detox, let's say. Like usually in my workday, I'm really stressed and working all the time. And I was really looking forward to kind of get a stress detox, to get time for myself, not work all the time. And the third one was actually probably improving my gut symptoms. Like usually I'm having some allergies, let's say, for some foods. And my expectancy for fasting has been that maybe after the fasting my gut gets kind of a reset and it might be better afterwards.
Did you have some special fears, anything you were afraid of, and did the fears come true, or how was it for you?
One fear I had, for example, was for sure being hungry, because usually in my work day, let's say if I don't have time to cook or something, and I'm getting hungry, I'm getting really nervous and really angry, kind of. So I can react quite badly to, I don't know, other stressors or get angry at people. So actually my fear has been a little bit that this might be the same, maybe extended, because I never had this experience that I wouldn't eat something for days. And I wasn't even sure if that is possible at all.
I was fearing not being able to think clearly and having always such low energy that I couldn't do anything.
I had the fear that I have so much hunger that I can't do this for the whole fasting experience, and perhaps I have the fear that I would be really weak and yeah.
At home, people know me of getting hangry, as they say. So usually when I'm hungry, I do get very grumpy. So I was afraid that it would be quite intense. I had also heard that we would be doing enemas. So I was having respect from them, yes. Definitely not something I would had experienced before.
I think the only fear was because I'm not coming for the weight, that it might be too much I'm losing here. But then I discussed it with the doctor, and he gave me security in terms of that when I'm coming with a lower weight, the body also adjusts to that and is not losing that much. But beside that, it was, yeah, there were no other fears.
And you're now at the end of your stay. When you look back, can you say, is there anything you were struggling with or anything that you just didn't like?
So in the beginning of the fasting, I was struggling a bit with tiredness. I didn't feel that energized, and when I wanted to move, I realized that I'm losing quite fastly my energy. But over the fasting days, it came back then, and then I also felt super energized, and could also join walks and do some sports.
At the beginning, I have some problems with my hunger, but it was normal. It is normal, I think, but it's no other problems. I have no problem for me.
So the main struggle is that indeed you feel hunger, and the stuff I didn't like is that your mind constantly goes towards food, but it is surprising that it's not constant.
So when did it end in your case?
In my case, it ends always when I start doing some physical activity. It also helps with the sauna or swimming or any other physical activity that you might like. It really stops the hunger and also makes you disconnect from that feeling.
The thing I struggled with was the first day. Like, I have to say, I was really weak that day. I felt really kind of without energy or anything. So that was definitely strange at first, because then I was already scared that it might really be, you know, like in the movies and books talking about you being weak and everything. But the thing is, on that day, I also tried to force myself a little bit to do stuff, you know, like kind of still thinking about work, trying to motivate myself even to take a run on the beach. That was definitely exhausting for sure. But what I can say regarding that would be maybe a little bit like a recommendation that maybe if you're going into this fast, you should really just go with the flow. Like, I mean, of course, the body is in a really stressful situation, I would say, and you can't force yourself to do something against it. So you should rather just go with the flow. And for example, on this Wednesday, for me it's been, where I had this really first week fasting day, I was only laying in the bed basically. But for the next day, I made myself this kind of proposal that I should start early in the morning, just take a brief walk, sit a little bit in the sun in the House of Inspiration over there, just take a sip of tea, for example, and just start the morning slowly together with the sun. And that was actually something I can recommend. Like, do not go against this urge that you have to do something, which is hard for sure, but just go with the moment. And like, I was sitting there, for example, drinking my tea, looking at the sun, and that was already really waking you up. And I mean, you had way more capacity, for example, for other things like creative, let's say, like journaling, or I was listening to music.
And it's now your second refeeding day, or a day of food reintroduction. Can you already say what is your major benefit that you experienced?
My major benefit would be, for one, that I was surprised that you're relatively strong, even though you do not eat food for several days.
The main thing I think is that you have more time for yourself. That means during the 10 days staying here, it was relaxing, going down, and I have not this time since 15 years ago, and I think there are so many time for yourself. You can go in your side or inside you, and it's not really the healthy thing, it's so mental thing, I think.
Yeah, what I liked the most was the self-health of my skin. So I have a lot of wounds in my hands, and they was really deep. And while fasting, I realized that there was some self-healing process, and also the skin in my face. So normally I have a really bad skin, and yeah, that feels really great.
One of the benefits I now, in the refeeding phase, really experience is I feel thoroughly checked up. I had many visits with the nurses. I've seen the doctor multiple times. There's been ample of possibilities of being going to therapy, and I feel I've never been so thoroughly checked up that I feel like, okay, nothing would surprise me in the next few months. Even the blood tests, they were quite insightful, and I don't think I would have had that experience at home. I don't get my blood checked that often, so yeah, that was very nice to feel thoroughly taken care of. Yeah.
Since I can imagine many people who plan to do their first fast are watching this video, I wonder if you have any tips or recommendations when looking back. Was there anything you would love to have known earlier, or you figured out during your fast you would like to share with the audience?
Yeah, I mean, since you are more aware of your body, take your time to listen to it, and don't be shy to mention anything to the nurse or the doctor. I was struggling a little bit with some tiredness, and the nurse immediately came with a quick solution, and it helped.
What was it?
I was feeling tired, and she recommended honey and lemon, and after, I think, an hour or two, I was already feeling better after she squeezed the lemon juice for me. So it really helps. So my advice would be really to talk to the doctors and nurses. They know what they're doing, and don't be shy to mention anything, even if it's something minor that you would think.
So if you need to work a bit during the fasting, take it a bit easy. Sometimes there's problems with concentration. Disconnect whenever you can, and try to do some physical activity, and then go back to whatever you were doing. That way you will be your mind will be clearer when you try again to do whatever you want to do.
Perhaps find the middle between do not nothing, but do something, and find a middle between this for not too much and not too less. I guess that worked for me perfectly, because if you do nothing, you think always on food or something like that, and if you are active, then you get more clear thoughts about everything.
Yes, I have some tip. For me, as a healthy person, it was for me really cool and really good for going down in stress. And for me, it's not only for the unhealthy people, it's really also for the healthy people, that you are coming down to relax something. And that's for me the biggest tip in future.
What surprised you the most?
Surprising was that I really have a good sleep, that I have really a relaxing day without any stress and without any mails and without any phone call, something like that. And that was for me the surprising thing, that it works without me in business, because normally I work 12 hours a day, and I'm always on pressure, helping them, and this, in the end, it says it's also possible without me, the business doing.
From the good perspective, my headache, because I have just at the first day some headache, not the first day, the first fasting day, sorry, and then it was completely gone.
I was surprised that I became very aware of my body. There was time to listen to it, and I thought I was a very aware person. I tried to be healthy, but fasting really elevated that. So every day you experience a change in your body when you're fasting, and that makes you very aware. You try to listen more. And listening to your body also gives you the opportunity to then say, okay, do I need to fix this or not? That was very, almost emotional to be so close and in tune with your body. That surprised me that I would have that. I was also surprised that the enemas were not that bad, but yeah, it's more of a understanding and listening to your body level.
Indeed, there's times when you have a lot of energy, you feel very energized, and you want to do things. Your body requires physical activity, and that for me was very surprising. I thought that it would just be laying in bed and doing nothing, but it's the opposite actually.
Would you do it again?
Yes, I would do it again, but yeah, it would also be trying to have less of a work schedule and try to have more of the relaxation. I think that helps a lot.
I would do it again. Like, my first plan would be to somehow try to integrate it in my daily routine, because for sure this day is nice, but I guess the important part is to get it into your daily life. And so my next fast will probably be at home, and I'm really curious how that could work, because of course your partner might be eating whilst you're in a fast, so that will be a tough challenge for sure. But yeah, for sure, after I have that integrated in my daily life, it would be nice to have it again as a routine to come to the Buchinger Wilhelmi Clinic.
Yes, I would do it again. Also for me, that is to coming down and to say, okay, I'm healthy and I would do it again. Because it's my time, it's a time for me, and I can have less stress and I can coming down for the future, and I would do it mostly once time a year. It would be fine.
I don't know at the moment, but I would say not that I don't want to do it again.
Yes, I would do it again because it was a nice reset and experience here.
Yeah, definitely, especially when I'm feeling like I didn't take care of myself.
So thank you very much, Rupa, for taking the time and sharing your experience. I hope you found the video insightful. If you have additional questions, leave us a comment below. We might answer it in one of the next videos. If you like the video, follow us, leave us a like. Thank you very much, Rupa, for taking the time. It was a pleasure having you.
My pleasure.
And hope to see everybody soon. Bye-bye.